All right, let's try to make a quick update for Ethereum for anyone trying to trade this through the weekend. Remember that we're still in a downtrend and we're still in a bear market. And speaking of bears, they're in complete control this weekend. They're walking you down level by level. They're not even giving you a chance to catch a bounce. I mean, unless you're scalping it quick. If you're thinking, hey, we maybe bounce from here, we're going up, I'm going to wait till we come back down. I'm going to buy, ride the next bounce up and sell. They're not allowing it. You're coming down for a bounce and they're pushing you directly through down to the next level. You come up, you come through, bull trap, come down to hit here, no bounce, starting trying to push you directly down through. Now, we might be able to, just because we're finally getting, for farther enough, we're finally getting far enough down here that we're getting into some support ranges that usually hold a little bit stronger. This 1275 line I've seen hold in the past. If you go back and look in history, zoom out, look left on different time frames, we might be able to defend this. The bulls might continue to try to push this up, and if so, you might be able to try to get back into trading in this range for the weekend. But you won't get any real direction on any of this until the markets open on Monday and you see what's going on with actual equities, and then see which direction Bitcoin's going to do and where the momentum is going to be. But as of right now, I would say most likely, with the Bears being in control as well as they are, that the first place you might try to find some real support on a temporary basis and start, making a buy for the weekend or a position to create if you think we're going to get momentum going into next week would actually be another level down. I mean, yeah, it's only another $15, but I believe we're going to drop down here towards a level that we've had more confluence in the past. If you zoom out to a higher time frame and you look left, what you see is, you start to go back and you look for places that we've had support. You also realize that this green line up here at 1450 that we lost was important all the way back to 2018. That was our peaks. Being anywhere below this is bad all the way around. The fact that we're, still below 1450 and in a downtrend, that's what people need to pay attention to. You also need to pay attention to the fact of where the June lows were. We've already been down to these areas more than once, and the more time that you continue testing support, the weaker it gets. So you can think of it almost like being on a piece of concrete or something, and the more times you hit it with a jackhammer, you start making cracks. When you've got candles closing above a level, that's great. When it continues pushing wicks through, it makes it weaker, and eventually you end up going through, as you can see, through history. When you look back and you realize that when we had the first major sell off in June, we ended up all the way down here to these 800 ranges. You didn't find real wicks stepping in to buy this support back up until you hit the 800s. And then the real candles didn't start to close until basically about 1,000. So your real support range really lies in here on this downward trend so far until further notice. It's basically in this 1,000 to 1,250 range. And we're still above that, based off of this last pump we had when we came up out of here. And now that we're back to the Bears being in control and us continuing to get more and more, bad news with markets, we're just coming back up over and coming back down and losing support one level at a time. So what you need to realize is that, these things are controlled by the broader markets, and the broader markets are also still in a downtrend. The sell off that we recently had was because the S&P and the Nasdaq crashed, and the S&P went and lost the area of 3,700, then lost the area of 3,600, came all the way down to 3,460 or something like that day of trading. And that's when, this wick bought back up, this rally you had. That was because the algorithms stepped in on the stock market and started buying the stocks back up. So the only reason this ran back up is because Bitcoin ran back up chasing the stocks. And the only reason, Bitcoin ran up and the stocks ran up is really because the algorithms stepped in for the major institutions with the real money, and they started saying, hey, these things are oversold. These are prices that we will, buy at. And basically, AI, artificial intelligence, stepped in and created this, but also it's a short squeeze. You get too many people that were selling short and were being bearish and trying to grab those prices to keep pushing down. and then it creates everyone buying at the same time. So this was also a huge short squeeze that created this. So until you get some real direction from the markets next week, just realize that you're in a downward trend. You're most likely going to continue to come down here and see if you hold support here. And if not, and you lose it, realize that you then drop all the way down to where, yeah, you've got some psychological levels in between here. That's what I call these. They're like temporary supports that kick in sometimes on lower time frames, and you see that you get a bounce, you can get in and get out. But if you zoom out and you're looking at it on a weekly, monthly, or even dailies, sorry, what you realize is you're continuing to push down usually through those levels. They don't usually, hold very much once you're in them, and the bears usually take control. Once you end up coming down and finding some support, then I would say you're probably looking at ending up back in this range again until further notice, and until we get some sort of change in narrative, or until we actually find a bottom in the equities in the stock markets. Until they figure out where their bottom is, we're still bottom hunting basically. And Bitcoin will follow, Ethereum will follow, and everybody else in crypto land will follow them. So, have realistic expectations when you're trading these things, and realize why these levels are here and what they'll do for you and what they won't do for you. And also realize that, support is only support until it's lost. But once you're underneath it, then it's resistance usually, coming back up. If you were grabbing support in these areas, once we end up down below them trending and closing candles for a while, like we start closing daily candles below this yellow line, you'll start finding that when you get wicks up into it, the bodies will probably start closing below it, unless we get an actual change in momentum and direction from the broader markets. And paying attention to these, simple narratives is what's going to help you be a better trader and help you with capital preservation in this bear market. Is you need to stay safe, and you need to realize you're in a downtrend. If you're buying now, realize you're in a very small zone to trade and scalp this, and you have to be on a really high time frame to do it. If you on a really low time frame to do this. So if that's what you're doing, this might be helpful to you. If you're just looking to buy something for later for investing, then you want to pay attention to the fact that basically all these prices are in an oversold area. Can you get lower? Yes. But in the grand scheme of things, for Ethereum personally, anything under about 15 to 1800 is a great buying opportunity. I believe that in 3 to 5 years, when you look back, you'll go, man, that was the best time to buy ever. And that's all been created ever since Ethereum got below 1800, and really ever since it got below 15, 1600. So if this is all, something that you have a longer time horizon on, all of this is great for buying. If you're paying attention to trying to trade these levels, then realize the bears are in control. You're in a downward trend, and you're going to continue, going down until further notice, and you break this trend and then start an upward trend. As of right now, the bears remain in control. And, if you need more confluence with your idea or ideas of how low or high it can go, start zooming out and paying attention to what it was doing on higher time frames, and pay attention to the levels that it holds at different times. Hopefully, right now, the Bulls can defend this and stay above this 1275 and bounce in here and work at getting back up here. But as of right now, you're still stuck underneath this trend, and most likely the direction today is looking like this, and then waiting for the stock market to open on Monday and figure out which direction we're really going to go. So if you have any comments, or anything specific you'd like to see or hear differently, let me know in the comments, or you can DM me. I've had some people, just don't feel comfortable leaving comments, and they've DM'd me on, Facebook or Twitter. I'm happy to answer your questions personally, individually, or even make you your own video and not call you out. I won't tag anybody to it, or make you feel foolish or anything. But also remember, there's no such thing as a dumb question, especially with things you don't know. And you don't have to feel bad not knowing or understanding, crypto, Web3. These are emerging and changing technologies right now that a lot of your older institutions, they don't really know much of what's going on. I mean, it's still just, these things are happening right now at a really fast pace. So asking questions and learning now is definitely going to help you in the future. You guys enjoy your weekend and trade safely.